It was late last night. You were on the call.
I was.
Canada beat Argentina, smashed them 3-0.
No, that was Friday.
Oh no, that's Friday. Jesus Christ. Can you tell that I've also just woken up? I didn't see the game last night. That's terrible, isn't it?
Really bad. You want to go again?
That is actually
you
really
want to just restart?
No, this is what Footy Prime is. I didn't watch the game last night. I couldn't. I was unable to.
They lost 1-0.
Oh, they lost
to Argentina. In Langford at Starlight Stadium. Yeah, and Casey Stoney talked about the fact that the pitch, they were going to be kind of hemmed in and constrained and maybe not be able to play the type of football that they would want to, or that it would, or both things. It would also favor Argentina, who wanted to. They can play when they're on the ball. As they showed, they scored on a free kick where Sabrina D'Angelo's positioning left something to be desired, but they still were able to capitalize on that opportunity, which Canada were not able to do. But Argentina were combative. They were physical. They were dirty, you might even say. It was Rodriguez, number 11, who scored for them, scored their only goal, and she also almost sent Quinn to the hospital, like a little hop, skip, jump, stamp, right on the top of Quinn's foot. And they were lucky to walk away from the challenge.
Did she stay on the pitch, Quinn? Or did she?
Quinn stayed on the pitch, yeah. And so did Rodriguez. I thought she should have been sent off. Got a yellow for it. So, you wonder about these friendlies, if it's, I know it's the nature of the game is a little bit different. There's less on the line. There's less at stake. But it still needs to be refereed to the same standard as if it was a competition or as if it was a tournament. But they did actually get a player sent off. Their goalkeeper Pereira, had a great ball by Mimi Alidu into the right channel for Janine Sonis, came out to challenge. Sonis got there first, and Sonis was able to try to get the ball by her, and she kind of stuck out her arm, kind of chicken winged it, and got sent off for the deliberate handball. And then Canada, even then, were unable to capitalize and unable to really dominate and dictate even a player up. So I think there were some positives that you can glean from it. There always is. I think the two that stand out for me are that Kayla Briggs and Holly Ward got their debuts. So that's exactly what this year is for. We've talked about what Stoney needs to do. I think the midfield had a little bit of a rough time. I think Quinn and Wickenheiser in there, who was actually Doug Wickenheiser, who was a big disappointment for the Montreal Canadiens, related. Remember he went first overall back in the day?
No, I don't. I remember.
Yeah, anyway.
Haley Wickenheiser is the only Wickenheiser I know. Second now.
There we go. Cousin.
Really?
Yes, we're so related.
Wow. That's freaking genes, eh?
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, it's Mr. Jimmy here. My last name is Wickenheiser, but you can call me Mr. Jimmy. We can hang out by my car after class.
Mr. Jimmy Wickenheiser, unrelated to Haley Wickenheiser or Carly.
Hey, Josie.
Not allowed near them anymore.
Yeah. How are you?
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Apologies for the lateness. I have a child.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah, she needs to eat sometimes.
Yeah. And is she suckling from the teat of JC?
Yes, my proverbial teat.
Mm-hmm.
My substitute teaching teat.
Well, listen, they say through's a crowd, but it's not on Footy Prime. We welcome you, JC.
Oh, yes. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
With the scoreline of last night's Canada-Argentina game? Curious.
Absolutely. 100%.
What was it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I don't want to give it away. It was 5.
No, you know what? You're as close as I was.
Was it
I feel really bad about this now.
2-1.
You shouldn't. It's okay.
It's just what I'm not making excuses, but I didn't watch anything last night, not even the Leaf game, and I got up this morning, not too soon before this podcast, jumped on to catch up, and I actually, I put on Canada Soccer's website, and they have 3-0 as the top story.
Oh,
that's not a good thing, is it?
No, but is this what's happening? That you're blaming them for your lack of preparation?
No, it's 100% my fault, but I did put too much faith in that particular website, which they're well aware of needs a lot of work.
It does.
Because Yeah, so I do apologize. So the breakdown actually is very informative. I'll watch the highlights later. But in fairness, it's a glorified friendly, or not even a glorified friendly. It is a friendly.
Yes.
And I
But as
can't
I
get too
said, I
excited,
think
but
last
important.
week, yeah, sorry, Sharms.
No, go ahead. I was just rambling.
I think it was whatever, I don't know, last pod, Monday, maybe Monday's pod. You weren't there, right?
No.
I think I was talking about this, that, I mean, the entire year, devoid of kind of that real competition that sometimes serves as the measuring stick that you need, especially when you want to evaluate your player pool, the depth that you have, maybe talent that's coming in, see how they stack up. They don't have that this year, but I made the comment that throughout my career, you know, almost all of the contests that we had at home, almost all of the friendlies that were booked, like they were out of the realm of a competition. So you can't say, oh, it's just a friendly, you know. I know that we sometimes tend to default to that. I think especially in the men's game, I think the women's game is evolving to a place where there are meaningful competitions all the time and more in CONCACAF, and getting closer to, say, you know, what's going on in Europe with Nations League, and like Rian actually with the Welsh women's national team, they had lost 2-1 to Denmark in their first match of this window. And then they had a really important tie yesterday, drew Sweden 1-1. So that
Good
was a great result for them. Yeah, as they look forward to this summer's Euros, which is really not that far away now.
I knew that one. I knew that result. And that was only because I saw Rian's tweet about it.
Right.
That's why. Man, this is why people tune in to Footy Prime, is for the insight. Thank Christ you're here today, Dubs. If it's just me and JC, we'd have an issue talking about the action last night. But, you know, yeah, sure, it's a friendly, but like you said, that there's debuts, and it makes it interesting. It's like the men's cycle this summer. The Gold Cup may or may not be full strength, but even those He Believes Cup games earlier in June, I'm actually really excited about those games because I want to see these players who haven't yet got an opportunity. The Promise Davis, Dan Jeffersons of the world. I want to see them get on the pitch and watch them. That to me is exciting as a football fan.
Yes, absolutely. Is it Ivory Coast and the Ukraine?
Yeah, New Zealand's here as well, but I think Canada's playing those two. Yeah. So they're important games, you know, against European team, against an African team, and with the World Cup draw not that far away. You know, Canada's got to start playing teams outside their confederation as well. So, yeah, exciting. Just like last night's game, a loss is a loss. But if you're Casey Stoney, okay, she's competitive. She doesn't want to lose. And I get that from her. That she must be pretty miserable having not won this game. But was there any progress she would have seen other than debuting some new talent in that match?
She might have a more, measured answer than me. I think I was a little bit harsh. I think that, you know, while there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot that remains unclear about how this team is going to look underneath Casey Stoney, I think there's some clarity about the task at hand and what is expected of these players, regardless of who's deployed, that there's a certain benchmark, there's a certain standard. And I thought that, you know, even though there's tons of injuries in this squad, like big players across that front line, I mentioned it before, like Larissy, Vienne, Smith, not around. Like Cass is still out injured, so is Buchanan. I'm missing the left back. What's her name again? Who hurt her leg? It's just Sydney Collins. My God, my brain just wasn't working there.
You were very late last night.
I was watched the game, was aware of the result. So lots of players in that pool, in that wider pool, who are going to come in, and they're going to provide sort of the doubling up of those positions when you look at what a preferred 11 ends up looking like. And that's going to provide the competition for the players that we know, the players who have been in this core for a long time. But I thought last night, you looked at that 11 and you thought, okay, great. This is emblematic of what this window should be and of what this year should be. But I think that save for Briggs, who was very lively, very bright, really pacey, showed good initiative on the ball, wanted to get to the byline, wanted to beat the player in front of her, just 19 years old. So huge, I think, promise and upside there. I thought Julia Grosso across these two matches, I didn't really get a chance to talk about her a whole lot on the call, but she was impressive to me. She was like that livelier Julia Grosso, in and out of possession, but ball at her foot, kind of tricky, deft maneuvering in tight spaces, keeping the ball, and really kind of a commanding presence out there. I mean, she got the goal. She got the third goal to seal a deal at BC Place in the first contest. But I thought the midfield was overrun a little bit. You know, I think you had two profiles in there in Quinn and Wickenheiser that you knew they were going to be defensive minded. I think the smaller pitch, you didn't really get to see how Quinn can quarterback from a deeper lying position with switches of play and the range of passing that they have. I thought that they both looked like they were a half step off the pace. So Canada, as a result, you did see Quinn kind of dropping back into the back line to start the buildup, and then the fullbacks were flown a little bit higher up the pitch. So they had success in the channels, but not a whole lot happening down the spine. And that's where the strength lay in the opening match. So it's about knitting together the two, but regardless of who is out there, who is in that 11 or new players being blooded or debuts, I think Canada now understand that under Stoney, they're going to do historically what they've done, which is be rock solid defensively, but they're also going to have intent and purpose and verticality in their play. They're going to be progressive and be brave like Stoney wants them to do. But and they're going to counter press. They're going to be aggressive. I don't know if we saw all that. And Sabrina D'Angelo in a start that she doesn't really get a whole lot because of the world-class keeper who's in front of her and Kaylin Sheridan. I thought she let the side down a little bit, and then she's going to look back on that and about her positioning in a couple of plays where she could have done better, but the team in front of her could have done better as well, not only in the performance, but also in the finishing, because boy, did they have the opportunity. So many free kicks, so many corners, so many efforts on goal that should have been converted, and they weren't.
Verticality. I think it's the first time I've ever heard that word used.
Really?
It's a good word.
I think so.
I'm going to start using it more often, I think. It could be a movie, right? Verticality.
It could.
Starring Peter Dinklage or something.
As an oxymoron?
Yes.
Hey, he's not a moron.
He's not a moron.
You guys.
Drugs are
That was a
bad.
great breakdown, the Dubs. This Janine Sonius looks like something for the future.
Oh, yeah. Janine was also really good.
So,
I caught your joke there. Yeah. She's been around for so long.
When did the name change?
When she got married.
Yeah, I know, but when?
I think it was over the holidays. So just at the tail end of 2024.
Oh,
and then before the Pinatar Cup, Canadian women's national team, like their handle on Twitter, kind of released a little video just to say, like, Janine Beckie, I've been here for ages. Like, she's been around since, I think she's one of 3 or 4 who has 3 World Cups under her belt, 3 Olympics, medals, the gold medals, bronze medals.
The knee.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Because Kadisha Buchanan is the other one there who's out. But, once these players come back, like you're starting to look now, I think, at a pretty impressive crop of talent. But Sonis, I'm glad that you brought her up because she looked like the Janine Sonis of old.
She did.
And that was really good to see. Yeah.
Key, right? I mean, listen, she was, if not Canada's most important player before the injury, she was right up there.
Yeah. She's a human chance creator.
Yeah, exactly.
So great for days.
So she's looking good again. Okay.
She is. Yeah.
Good.
With the Sonis name on the back. But when I was covering the Pinatar Cup, back whenever it was at the end of February, beginning of March, it was very challenging. At one point, I think on the call, I referred to her as Becky Sonis. I'm like, no, that's not her name. I don't want to do the Janine because I find that, I've talked about how condescending that sounds. I think we have a tendency, even women who are in media, that it's easier. There's a tendency to refer to women athletes by their first name more so than in the men's game. And I really try hard to not do it or to call it out. Yeah.
Now you mentioned it. It's a real condescension there in the broadcast often. Like, oh, it's just there's my girl. My girl there she is. There's Janine. There's Christine. No, don't do that.
Sinclair.
I hate it when I hear it in men's commentary, and you hear it every now and again.
Yes.
Like, even if you are familiar with the person, even if you are mates off the pitch, don't do that.
Exactly.
Broadcast 101.
It's like when you hear like an actor and they say like for someone's referring to Robert De Niro, like, yeah, well, Bob De Niro, Bob and I. It's like, shut up. Like,
no, you don't know the guy in your life.
Who's Bob?
Yeah.
It is. It's infuriating.
It is.
That level of being too comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've got last names for a reason. Ownership. Right? Well, hey, Dubs, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll give Janine credit, though. I mean, Janine Beckie was a bit of a brand, or becoming a bit of a brand, right?
Yeah.
So they made that switch. I mean, good for her. You kept Amy Walsh, right?
Because I'm not allowed to switch to O'Connor.
You're not allowed. Is that the O'Connor saying that? Was and O'Connor, please don't change? Or was it your family saying don't change? Or was it your brand, the Amy Walsh brand, that was just beginning to blow up?
Oh, please, no. It's the province of Quebec. We're literally not allowed to take our husband's name. So we don't even have the choice.
Whoa.
Really? Did you not know this? Yeah.
If you get married in Quebec, the woman cannot legally take the husband's name.
Nope.
Why?
Which is why there are all of these composed names in French. It's called a non composé, right? So your double-barreled names.
Oh, that's why. So you can do the double-barreled, but you can't.
You can do the double-barreled.
Well, what if you want to, though?
Well, this is the thing. You should be able to choose, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I hate my name, or I hate my father was bad and I despise him, and I choose to change my name to my husband or wife, but I'm assuming it goes both ways, right?
No,
would it not? Probably not, actually.
No.
Rooted in sexism,
patriarchy.
Yeah, I had that's JC. So you had no idea either?
No idea whatsoever.
Wow.
And I know a little thing about I changed my name from a what is it non composé. Non composé. I had a non composé name until about 4 or 5 years ago, and then I switched it. So it was Hudson Cole was my legal name, and I took the Hudson and I threw it in the river, and now I'm just Cole.
In New York.
Yeah, that's right. The most heavily polluted waterway on the eastern seaboard.
Even more polluted now.
Right?
Hudson floating around in there.
Double Hudson.
Really? Okay. So you were Hudson Cole. So you were Jeff Hudson Cole for most of your life.
Yeah, but I always went by Cole. And
okay.
Yeah.
His legal passport was Hudson Cole, though.
Yeah, which still is, because changing all your stuff. I had a 10-year passport. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna change that right now. I don't want to spend the other $180. What am I made of passport money?
Is Charlie going Cole or double barrel?
Charlie is Cole. Charlie is Charlie Eve. Well, I don't know. Charlie Eva Elizabeth Cole.
It's a great name, though.
My daughter's Cole. Eve.
Aha! There you go. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, look at us.
I'm thinking of changing my last
James
name
too
to Wong. James Wong. Wasn't that the Seinfeld episode? The girl was, her last name was Wong, but she was white.
It was Chang, I think.
Chang.
Was it Chang? Was it?
Yeah.
It wasn't always Chang. It used to be Changstein. Did a non composé. Also,
what's with it?
Chang hyphen Steen.
He thought for sure that he was like, I think it was on the phone he was talking to her, right? And he was sure she was Asian, and he was getting all horned up.
Yeah, that's right.
He was so disappointed.
And the Costanzas were going to get divorced, but then Mrs. Costanza talked to this Chinese woman.
That's right.
On the phone. You're not Chinese. Well, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Divorce, you got it.
Inference of being wise, right?
Yesterday, that Jerry's George's dad on Seinfeld is Ben Stiller's dad.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't know that?
I had no idea, but now it makes complete sense. No idea.
Well, he's no one's dad now because he's dead.
He's dead now. Yeah, exactly.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
treasure.
You want to put a bow on the Canada performance last night, Dub? So I think you you crushed it pretty good there.
I think I've droned on enough about it.
I'm glad you did, because I had genuine remorse now for that's very unprofessional of me. I'm generally pretty prepared for these shows, but not on this particular occasion. So I apologize. But let's be honest, people weren't here to listen to my synopsis of last night's match. They were here for Dubs's synopsis of last night's match. So in that regard, although we are missing Jimmy and Wonga and Craig's thoughts on the match. We'll ask them about it next game, shall we?